Hello, beautiful souls. It's your show host, Regina Huber from Transform Your Performance with the same website, transformyourperformance.com. And today I'm tuning in from Hialeah, Florida, United States. If we met before, you know that I'm an adventurous, passionate and eclectic nomad with a business based in New York City and passionate about traveling and about moving. It's sunny again here today. The other day on the show it was raining, so I think we'll have a quiet non-rain background. My eclectic life and experience on 5 continents has allowed me to become a multicultural and multilingual transformational leadership coach and inspirational speaker. And because I have seen such a huge variety of sparkling brilliance in women all over the world, I have made it my mission for this show and for all its episodes to inspire you to ignite a fire wherever your path leads you, to move up that light dimmer control and shine your brightest light out into the world so you can increase your income and of course, also your influence and your impact at the same time, which then allows you to live a more fulfilled life, a happier life, a more impact-driven life. This is your show, What's Your Spark? What's Your Spark is about how you can show up more powerfully in business and just in life. And in leadership, of course, and sparkle your unique leader brilliance out to the world. Beam like a dazzling star with it and shine with such a bright spark that people have to put on their sunglasses when they look at you. And today, again, we're going to talk about leadership in a very specific way. And I want to kick today's topic off with a list of questions for you. Let me share those questions with you. Here are the questions. What if? All these questions are what if questions. And if you have watched previous shows, you already know that I love empowering what if questions for our own growth and our own mindset work together. But this is really about what if our business consciousness could change? What if we could have corporations where all employees are respected, valued, and fairly compensated? What if doctors and hospitals treated their patients as people they want to see healthy rather than sick? What if food manufacturers cared about healthy ingredients for their products? What if team members at all levels treated each other with respect? What if customer service actually provided great service to customers? What if it was safe to speak your mind as an entrepreneur with an opinion that might not be mainstream? What if we made an effort to understand rather than judge or even condemn each other, maybe for our opinions, our views? What if we could save energy and frustration by competing less and co-creating more? That is a very big one. What if we all could do business and live life free of stifling fear? And even of, it doesn't always have to be stifling fear, but sometimes it's just this anxious fear, or that fear that lies at the root of anxiety. What if business could be ruled by a spirit of compassion, goodwill, and true service, and love? And I mean love in big letters? See, these are the questions that I want us to focus on today. And these questions are from an article that I wrote about 2 years ago now. It's titled New Business Consciousness of Love, Compassion, and Co-Creation. See, I believe that it's high time for us to move into a new business consciousness of love, compassion, and co-creation. Last week, I talked about the characteristics, difficult word, the characteristics, third time is a charm, of courageous leaders and what constitutes courageous leadership. Today's topic is closely intertwined with courageous leadership. This new business consciousness of love, compassion, and co-creation that I want to talk about is not possible without courageous leadership, especially not in our current world. And in this episode, allow me to guide you through the thoughts that I shared in my article. Although you can always read the full article, of course, on my website, and I'm going to give you that link as well. So while I always encourage you to take notes, you'll be able to find a lot of what I'll be talking about here today in my article. It's on my website, and as I said, I'll give you the exact link toward the end of today's show. And I'd love you to participate and contribute your ideas in the conversation part of the show after the first 30 minutes after the recording stops. So if you can, stay on and share your thoughts, your views. Stick around for that, because I cannot wait to hear your ideas about this topic. There's so much we all can contribute. I think we can all agree that we're currently moving through times of crisis and confusion. Right? In my understanding, this is the preparation phase for a new consciousness, with more and more people waking up to a myriad of different facts and possibilities, and human consciousness being on the rise. And even if it doesn't always look like we're going into a better, more conscious future, more aware future, when we are really taking the time to look and go deep with our research, we can see signs in many, many places. Even just also now in different places where we can find news if we move a little bit off mainstream. But it's also true at the same time that in business, and especially in some corporate environments, we are currently still experiencing a pretty dark consciousness of heavy competition. And I call it dark because I really personally don't like the energy of competition, and especially when it's not when it's combined with greed. The prevailing consciousness is oftentimes that of competition and control. I'm not saying everywhere, but definitely in some places. So the question is, what can we do as players in this environment without running the risk of being affected too deeply or even annihilated by this competitive consciousness that has reigned for many, many centuries, not only decades, but centuries. Right? How can we do our part to transform our business environments into more co-creative spaces and cultures? Very important question, right? Independently of how much we know about what's going on behind the scenes, independently of how we think about it and how broad or narrow our horizon is in this respect, in order to create change, we must first take stock of what is going on, at least in general terms. We can only change what we acknowledge. I think most readers, if they really go deep, if they are deeply aware of the drivers of current events or not, will agree, most viewers and readers of my article will agree that we live in an environment of fierce, if not aggressive competition, right? But here's the thing, contrary to what we're conditioned to believe, competition is what keeps us stuck. Competition is what takes up precious energy and time, which could be used more productively, more creatively, and more successfully. This doesn't only apply to employees, of course. It also applies to entrepreneurs, to business owners, to artists who, by the way, are also business owners. And if you focus on competition rather than what makes you unique with your business, your offering, or your profile as an employee, if you focus on competition too much rather than on who you are actually and how to highlight this so your ideal customers or clients can find you, then you're wasting too much energy and time on something that's not going to work, and something that is just a waste. We are all different for a reason, after all. And we've talked about this in previous episodes. It's called what I call your distinctive uniqueness. See, competition is based in a lack mindset, a scarcity mindset, while co-creation is based in an abundance mindset. Isn't that much nicer? Even the sound of it, right? There is enough to go around. There's enough for all of us. And as we come together in creation, we can create something bigger together than we'd be able to create on our own. So competition goes with lack and scarcity, and co-creation goes with abundance and growth. What would you rather have? Scarcity or abundance? See, mindset can make or break your success. What are you focusing on in your business, in your team, as a manager or as a leader? Scarcity, meaning competition, or abundance, growth, meaning co-creation. Yeah. Again and again, we have seen in history, and especially more recently, that entire populations have been controlled by fear, conquered and ruled through division to serve the goals of a few beneficiaries. Our school systems are no exception. They literally prepare us for that. So it's noteworthy that the essence of education hasn't been reformed since the Industrial Revolution, even though we see a few schools here and there that do it differently. We're not taught how to explore our unique potential, let alone magnify it. We are not taught to lead a life of peace, of calm and harmony. Wouldn't that be nice, right? We are not taught to connect with our inner power, to stay healthy, to manage money, to access our intuition, or use healing or visualization practices to be more successful or healthier as well. We are not taught to co-create. Instead, we're taught to compete. So here we are trying to catch up with everything that we have not learned at school, although it's vital if we want to live a successful, healthy, and fulfilled life, to learn these things. Most of us somehow have to function within dysfunctional organizational structures to a greater or lesser extent, especially as employees, where we often have to put up with steep hierarchies, authoritative managers, and rigid rules, which have little room for personal little room, I should say, for personal creativity. Now, I'm not saying this is a case of all organizations. Absolutely not. But I have seen a thing or two, especially through the eyes of my coaching clients. And even as entrepreneurs who provide services to such organizations or the people in them, we got to deal with these structures to a certain extent. It's impossible to just build a bubble around ourselves, right? But here's the thing. I believe that there's always potential for improvement. There are always other ways. There are always other possibilities, because I know that for any challenge, there's a polar opposite. For any problem, there's a polar opposite. So the greater the challenge, the greater the opportunity. That leaves us with the question of what we can do to change this, to find that greater solution for the bigger problem. What if we decided to step into a new business consciousness of love, compassion, and co-creation ourselves on a daily basis? What if we could lead and interact with others respectfully from our hearts? What if we could be empathetic and compassionate with our coworkers, our teams, our clients, our customers, our patients, our suppliers? What if we could exchange prejudice for empathy, judgment for compassion, competition for co-creation, separation for connectedness, contempt for respect, and last but not least, fear for love? Can you imagine such a work environment? A nurturing environment rather than one that depletes your energy? Nice, right? This would also mean producing healthier foods, offering and encouraging ways to prevent disease, paying fair prices to those who grow our food, treating employees as partners in business rather than as disposable resources, and so much more. So let's dream a bit and let's look at our questions again. What if, and I'm going to go through them a little bit faster this time, but I'd ask you to close your eyes. And I invite you to really listen while I'm reading these questions and enjoy this moment of visualization and imagination with eyes closed if you can, if you're not driving, of course. I'll be reading the questions again, and you really drink them in with your mind and especially with your heart, okay? What if we could have corporations where all employees are respected, valued, and fairly compensated? What if doctors and hospitals treated their patients as people they want to see healthy? What if food manufacturers cared about healthy ingredients for their products? What if team members at all levels treated each other with respect? What if customer service actually provided service to customers? What if it was safe to speak your mind as an entrepreneur with an opinion that's not mainstream? What if we made an effort to understand each other rather than judge each other? What if we could save energy and frustration by competing less and co-creating more? What if we all could do business and live life free of fear? What if business could be ruled by a spirit of compassion, goodwill, true service? And why not say it also, love in big letters? Now you might think right now, dream on, and you can open your eyes. You might think, okay, Regina, dream on. And you know what? I will. Because without this dream, I wouldn't do the work I do. My proprietary framework, Powerful Leadership Transformation, or PLT, is very practically focused, and it's built on 4 pillars: a self-empowering mindset and heart set, distinctive uniqueness, a body and energy conscious presence, and as a result, inspired and effective action. It is also based on the principles of collaboration, co-creation, and connectedness. And these principles are deeply, deeply intertwined with consciousness of love, compassion, and co-creation. Why? Because I believe that co-creation is the future. And the current environment of competition and greed simply has no future. Humanity would not survive forever in this environment, not in the long term. Freedom is another key component of not only living a worthwhile life, but entertaining a fulfilling business or professional career. That's why everything I do is in the service of freedom. The freedom to speak up, stand out, and shine, as the title of my book says. I believe it's high time for us all to fully wake up to the possibility of doing business differently. Some already do, but we need more of us to embark on this path of new business consciousness, of love, compassion, and co-creation. So my question to you today is, are you ready to jump on board? Maybe you're in a leadership position, however high up on the echelon of your organization. And you could have an impact on others with your own way of spreading this new consciousness. How about that? Or maybe you're an influential entrepreneur, speaker, author, comedian, artist whose voice is heard by so many. But even if your circle of influence is small, don't think that you cannot do anything. That's just simply not true. You still have a role in this transition to a better world of business where there is no discrimination, no exploitation, no undercompensated slave work. I'm calling it out bluntly, right? Where all are encouraged to use their voice and to contribute their unique creativity, where everyone's contribution is valued and acknowledged, where money and business are tools and structures in the service of people rather than the other way around. This is the consciousness of co-creation, the consciousness of compassion, and the consciousness of love in big letters. This is the world I want to live in and the business world I want to live in. How about you? So I wonder, can we move toward more co-creation? Can we move out of old consciousness and paradigms of fear, suffering, threat, stress, and pain into the new consciousness of love, compassion, and co-creation? A consciousness of joy for the work we do and how it serves others and our planet. This starts with every single one of us. And to move it forward, we need courageous leaders. We need all hands on deck. We need leaders who guide us toward more connectedness, more unity, more peace. Courageous leaders lead from the heart. Leading from the heart isn't just about love and compassion. It's also about courage, because courage comes from the heart. It is high time to move out of antiquated structures and paradigms through courageous leadership. Could you, as a self-empowered human being, be one of those leaders who promote this new consciousness? Can you start a ripple in your job, in your business, however small it may be? Ripples become bigger over time, the more people they reach. Together, we will not only stay strong in this current storm, but use the storm to create bigger ripples. Be the storm. Are you ready to play a part as we shift the old story from separation, competition, and conflict to the new story of connection, cooperation, and sharing, as Greg Braden has said? If so, join me on this path and let's make it happen. Are you ready for this new consciousness, ladies and gentlemen? What can you contribute for it to happen? If not from one day to the next, then at least over time, step by step. See, your contribution counts. It does make a difference. I know it. And if you don't believe it, borrow my belief. The next step is to start a brainstorming list of how you can contribute. What can you do in your community, in your organization, in your business, to live in this consciousness, to be a living example? What needs to change in how you manage your team, for example? What does this even mean for you? Start making lists. Catch yourself when you fall back into old competitive patterns. If you're a business owner, you may be comparing yourself to other business owners too much, who you consider more successful, who may be making more money, have higher revenue, be more famous, have greater followings. Who cares? If you're an employee, you may be comparing yourself to your colleagues, peers, teammates, people who seem to have it all together or to have it easier somehow, or seem to have privileges that you don't have. But what is that really, what is the reality of there really? Is that really the case every time we think that thought? Or do you have the power inside of you to be as successful as you want to be in your very own way? Or what if you could potentially even partner up with some of them or learn from them. Beware, I'm not saying copy them. You are your own unique human and you have unique potential, unique skills and talents, but maybe they have a skill that could benefit you as well and that you don't have. Maybe you can join forces, create a joint venture, or find some other way of collaborating towards greater joint success. Benefit each other's success. Bring complementary skills together in co-creation. Nice idea, huh? Well, just try it, experiment with it, make lists, brainstorm. There's so many possibilities. As some have said before me, competition is for losers. I love that. And I'd like to add, co-creation is for winners. Use your time and energy wisely from now on. Start co-creating more and competing less. You can find the article that I wrote 2 years ago on the BioPress page on my website. And here's also the direct link. It is www.transformyourperformance.com/new business consciousness, all one word. Okay, so again, transformyourperformance.com/new business consciousness. And on the bio and press page of my website, you'll also find many other articles and resources such as podcasts, radio, and TV interviews. But don't just leave this show and say, oh yeah, that sounds nice. I invite you now to really reflect on what you can do in practical terms to live this new business consciousness of love, compassion, and co-creation, and spread this new business consciousness around you. Be contagious with it. Infect others with it through your own behavior, your example, your enthusiasm, by role modeling this new consciousness, not just talking about it. Yeah. So much of the current mistrust in business is based on fear. Fear and trust are mutually exclusive. But not just fear and trust are mutually exclusive. Fear and love are also mutually exclusive when you think about it on a deep level. Love is much more than romantic love, than love for your family and friends. Love is a force to be counted on. Also in business, love is the basis for compassion, for true and meaningful connection, even if it's the love for another person's greatness, which then also results in greater respect for that person. I hope I'm making sense here. If not, think about it yourself, reflect on it after this show. Yeah. So these are the thoughts that are going through my mind when I think about love in business, in a business environment. Of course, I'm not talking about anything sexual here. That belongs in the personal arena and has nothing to do with this new business consciousness I'm talking about here, right? So in fact, any abuse or sexual harassment is clearly not a part of this new business consciousness, needless to say, because it's not related to love. But I'm diverging here a little bit. So a more loving attitude in business can diminish fear and other unhelpful emotions in a business environment, and therefore increase trust. And higher trust levels lead to higher creativity and engagement. So how can you lead with love? Compassion is also an attitude we display through our behavior, unlike empathy, which is more like an ability, which we also need, but empathy can be expressed in many different ways, even to the detriment of the person that we're empathetic with. We can abuse our empathy, our ability to feel other people's feelings, while compassion is always driven by a good intention. So what we want is compassion. The concept of co-creation is probably more obvious. Co-creation is more than collaboration. It goes a step further. It has a more proactive character to it than collaboration. We create something bigger together than we could on our own. And we do this very much on purpose, yes, in co-creation. And if you like this, then I do have more for you. Let's stay connected. Go to transformwithregina.com and click on the blue button on the bottom of that page to receive additional resources in your email in the future. Also check out my YouTube channel, Regina Huber, where you have several playlists with great tools inspiration, and more. I look forward to seeing you again next week, same time, same place. In the meantime, keep your light dimmer switch in its highest position and don't let anyone bring it down. Hold it there firmly. Yes, keep shining, sparkle away like the precious pearl you are, because the world is your oyster.